Joining me on the show today is Larry Bohannan, who just kind of came on in, cruising on in. Step on up to that mic, Larry. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's a wild, crazy weekend here in the Coachella Valley. You're desert tripping next weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last night I was high school footballing it.
High school footballing it. You know, I have to say, out of the whole weekend, the group who I really would want to see the most, I am not going to desert trip, would be last night. Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones.
That's really, out of all of them, Paul McCartney I've seen before. Even Bob Dylan, you know, in his quirky ways, somewhere along the way I know, but I really would like to see the Rolling Stones.
Well,
yeah.
McCartney has played the Coachella before, so
Yeah.
people have had a chance here. The Who played the Indian Wells Tennis Garden about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Roger Waters played the Coachella as well. So I think the fact that the Rolling Stones, the biggest rock band in the world, is 10 miles from my house, that becomes exciting thing.
Pretty awesome stuff. Yeah, 10 miles from your house. Could you hear any of it last night?
I was at the high school football
Oh, that's
game,
right. You were at the high school football
and it was
game.
very
Yeah,
loud
It was very loud. All right. Well, we are a golf show, believe it or not. Yes, golf is a 4-letter word, and we are on Team 1010 KXBS. So today we're going to talk about Ryder Cup, paying to watch golf, Tiger's back. There's a lot of things going on. It's just kind of a little bit of you would think a downtime after the Olympics, the Ryder Cup, but still the news just keeps breaking. And if you feel like calling the show, feel free to do so at 760-440-8255. And you can always go to our website, golfisafourletterword.com, and that is the number 4, to check out what's going on upcoming shows, see who won what. We just gave away a round of golf for 4 at the Avila Beach Golf Resort. I'm always giving stuff away all the time. So check the website. And sometimes we also give I gave a Ogio golf bag away last week, for which we do our bunker shot series. Always stuff happening. But today on television, you will find golf. What's going on? The Europe Dunhill Links start at 5 a.m. this morning on the Golf Channel. The Champions Toshiba Classic starts at 3 p.m. on the Golf Channel. The Fiji International, 5:30 p.m. on the Golf Channel. The LPGA Fubon Taiwan, 9 p.m. on the Golf Channel. And let's see, then the Europe Dunhill Links starts Sunday at 3:50 a.m. on the Golf Channel. So you can go to a desert trip and then come home and watch golf on television. I am wondering, though, and this is my last comment about desert trip, Larry, how many people you think are going to make it all 3 nights? Because it's going to be, from what I hear, traffic and all that sort of stuff.
I think the easiest way to do this with the traffic is to go to one of the areas where they have shuttles.
Yeah.
I think the Indian Wells Tennis Garden, you can park there and shuttle in. That's probably the smartest way to do it.
But yet they were caught on buses, though, yesterday for 2 hours is what they're saying. Yeah, I don't know. So
this is different than Coachella because it's a very set period of time.
Yeah.
Coachella is from noon to midnight. People wander in and out. Here you got 2 groups. Everybody's going to leave at the same time. Everybody's going to show up at the same time.
You think you're going to make all 3 nights?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think. I promise.
Oh, you promise? Okay. All right. Let's talk about some golf scores going on out there today. The PGA Tour Champions Toshiba Classic. Well, Billy Mayfair is tied with Jay Haas at 7 under. But in the news really has to be John Daly. John Daly birdied the final 5 holes Friday in the Toshiba Classic, leaving him 3 strokes behind fellow senior newcomer Billy Mayfair and 62-year-old Jay Haas. Now, John Daly, he came on to the Champions Tour, the Seniors Tour, whatever you want to call it, and he thought, he was saying, this is going to be easy money in the bank. I mean, I just play, but I think the competition is a little bit more difficult than what he had anticipated.
Well, the easy money comes from the fact that there's no cuts.
Yeah.
So he can play awful and still make a check. He has not shown any reason over the last 10 years on the regular tour for us to believe that he was going to come out on the Champions Tour and play well.
Yeah.
And I think there's an underestimation among most golf fans about the caliber of golf on the Champions Tour. It's not really a tour that resonates with a lot of people these days. There's not a lot of real star power out there.
Yeah.
Even though, guys like Bernhard Langer and Fred Couples are out there. It's not like when it was Jack and Arnold and Lee.
Mm-hmm. But it's interesting, though, because when we look at this list of players here, it's almost, it's basically the tour that you and I grew up watching.
That's the Bob Hope Classic from 1988.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we can relate to all these players, but I guess just because there's not an excitement level there that we see on the PGA Tour.
Well, what does it, without putting too fine a point on it, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Guys aren't winning FedEx Cups out there, and guys aren't going to major championships. Okay, they've got 5 majors on that tour, but are they really majors?
Yeah.
Are they,
Yeah.
and so I think there are a lot of people who had, it's old man golf. And it wasn't that way. When Arnold showed up in 1980, he created a tremendous amount of excitement on that tour. Jack later, Lee later, even a guy like Hale Irwin. Right now, that tour is looking for an identity.
What Jim Colbert, he's been on the show, Colbert, a couple times, and he says there really is not many players, though, that pass up playing on the Champions Tour. There's only a handful. Greg Norman was one. I'm trying to think of who. I think he only pointed out Greg Norman. There's just a handful that don't play on the Champions Tour. But he did say it's a lot more laid back and it's a lot more fun, and it's just a different dynamic.
It's a different vibe, and it's fun to go out and watch these guys, and they do play a very good brand of golf.
Yeah,
but. If you gave people a choice of watching the PGA Tour or the Senior Tour, they're obviously going to gravitate to the PGA Tour because they feel like it's a more important event.
And then if you give them the choice of watching the Champions Tour or the LPGA,
coin flip sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And speaking of the LPGA, the Fubon Taiwan Championship is happening. Leading the pack is Hee Young Park and Hana Zhang. They're both at 6 under. And Brooke Henderson is at 5 under, Katrina Matthews 3 under, and then the list goes down. So they are playing right now, and so that's about it of what's going on in the world of tournament golf right this very weekend. Of course, Tiger Woods. I saw this last night. I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. I had a gazillion things on my mind. But I was online, and besides all this mess with Trump that's going on out there, we don't. Thankfully, this is not a political show. Thankfully, what the big announcement, believe it or not, on the internet was Tiger Woods, and I thought, wow, okay, what's this about Tiger Woods? Because how many times, Larry, have we heard him say, "You might come back, you won't come back"? He's not coming back. He wants to play. His back's getting better. Well, Tiger Woods officially committed to playing his first tournament in more than a year. Woods announced last month that he was targeting next week's Safeway Open in Napa, California, to end a 14-month layoff after multiple back procedures. Woods had until Friday to remove his name from the roster, which he did not. So the 14-time major champ, hasn't played, 14 months? Woods 40 years old now.
Yes.
What the heck?
Well, it has been. It was the Wyndham Championship in August of 2015 when he played the last time. He's had one surgery and one quote-unquote procedure on his back since then. Took it very slow this time. And I think that it will be interesting to see not only what he looks like coming back, but what people's expectations are.
Well,
because the last Tiger Woods we saw was not particularly a competitive golfer.
No.
And
then that commercial that he made on the par 3 he was trying to make, and he kept dunking in the water. Oh, that was brutal.
Do you think this is a guy that can make the cut this week? Is it a guy you think is going to even be able to finish 18 holes? We're not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's definitely going to be interesting. The pressure on Tiger now, who turns 40, 79 tour victories. I mean, we all still want to remember Tiger as Tiger, the fist pumping, the jock, the athletic body on steroids or whatever he was on. But that's who we really want to remember. And when we come out there and we see the older, you notice that the Ryder Cup Tiger looked a lot older. Yes, I really love the fact that they did not constantly show Tiger Woods on television. They kept the focus on the Ryder Cup, which we're going to talk about all that in a minute. But we expect a lot out of Tiger.
I think I read this morning that apparently his playing partner for the first 2 rounds is going to be Phil Mickelson.
No, really?
Yes.
Oh,
apparently Phil's been lobbying for that. So
he was complaining because he and Tiger were paired together.
Oh, that was years ago. They're better now. But I think you're going to see some massive ratings for Golf Channel, at least for the first couple of days. If he gets to the weekend, oh my gosh.
That's true. You're right. Okay. Well, interesting. That's interesting lobbying going on there. So Tiger Woods is back, folks. So he will be playing in the Safeway Open in Napa Valley, California. All right. And before we go to break, which we are going to go to break, when we come back, we have, of course, Arnold Palmer to talk about. Ryder Cup to talk about, paying for golf, Golfsmith, big news on that. Lots of things to talk about right here with Larry Bohannan on Golf is a 4-letter word right here on Team 1010. But before we step out, we want to send out our condolences to Paul Levy, whose mother passed away on, yes. So our condolences go out to the Levy family, and always love having them on the show. All right, folks, we'll be right back. You're listening to Golf is a 4-letter word right here on Team 1010 KXPS. Welcome back to Golf is a 4-letter word right here on Team 1010 KXPS. Joining me today for his once every couple months shot to come on in and talk some golf with me is Larry Bohannan with the Desert Sun. Hey, Larry.
How are you?
I am fine, thank you. Well, you can see by the paper articles that are spread around me that I obviously follow you very closely and what you write.
And in print, too.
Well, I do print because I don't want to have to be trying to find all this on my computer. I can cut it out, save it, and get back to it. So, no. And I read all your golf articles and voice my opinion to myself when I'm standing there reading them. And
that idiot, what's he thinking now?
No, I never say that. This one, Arnold Palmer, of course, Arnold Palmer passes away. Just, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot more we can say about that except that towards the end, he didn't look like just an elderly person passing away. He looked very sick.
I saw him at the Masters this year, and he looked very frail.
Yeah,
and that was very jarring because frail and Arnold Palmer are not phrases that go together. Arnold was always a big, scrapping guy, huge forearms, massive hands. Always looked like he could, punch a tree and the tree would knock down kind of thing. And to see him that way was very difficult. And you knew, his mind was fine. He was very, very sharp still. But physically, his body wore out. I think Jack was the one who said, my old friend just wore out.
Yeah. But he did have some, I guess, issues heart-wise.
Yes, he'd had a pacemaker put in a couple of years ago. But he also had a bad shoulder, and, he was an 87-year-old guy.
Yeah, that just kind of, I know Jim Colbert, again, I refer because every time he comes on the show, he has all these great insights. He said a couple of years ago he was at a tournament, probably, it had to be maybe 5 years ago or so, but there was Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer. He said they were all standing up there doing, I think it was at a Champions Tour or something, and he goes, I told someone, get a camera quick. Because I was looking at the group and I said to myself, this is probably the last time I will ever see these three guys together on the golf course again. Yeah. And basically it was. So, but Arnold Palmer, what I loved about your article is, I found him, he just mesmerized me. What really got to me is the amount of pictures on Facebook. That is a testament to him of just average people that had their picture taken with Arnold Palmer.
Arnold, he took time for people.
Yeah.
It's the thing that separated him from everybody else. It was not just that he would sit there and have a picture taken with you, but he'd talk to you.
Yeah.
He'd look you in the eye. He'd shake your hand. Mm-hmm. And that just was so connecting with so many people through the years. And, you see it a little bit here and there, but not ever to the same extent that Arnold did it for 60 years.
We had a caller call in, and I want to say his name's Roger last week, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but he was telling us that he has played golf with Arnold a few times through various charity tournaments, and he said there was one tournament where Arnold knew a whole group of ladies that followed him everywhere. They loved Arnold Palmer. And he told his playing partners, he goes, you guys, I'll meet you over there for lunch or whatever, dinner, but first I have to go buy this group of ladies a drink. Because they are huge fans of mine, and I just want to. And he did. He took the time.
He was very appreciative of the fans. He was very appreciative of what golf had given to him. And
you sound like me. You want some cough syrup?
No,
I have some here. No, it's all the scalping going on.
So he, and that the people gave that back to him. What he gave to the people gave back to him.
Well, and here are the 5 things, and I didn't have a chance to read it last week on the show, but you pointed out that there are 5 things golfer Arnold Palmer did other than win tournaments, and be very friendly to all his fans and be part of the fan base world. And besides the Arnold Palmer drink, all of a sudden everybody's talking about Arnold Palmer on all different kinds of shows, and that's interesting. But he founded the Golf Channel. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
He and his partners back in 94, 95 thought that this was something that could work. And it didn't for the first couple of years because it was a premium channel, and a lot of cable companies didn't really want it as a premium channel. I remember they were saying for the price of a sleeve of balls, you can get a month of golf. Well, they changed it to basic cable, and it's obviously changed the way we consume golf.
But didn't, when he started the Golf Channel, I'm trying to remember, was Tiger Woods such a prominent figure at that time?
Yeah, this was, Tiger had not turned pro yet.
Yeah, okay.
It was, Tiger was winning, U.S. amateurs, but it was the right time, the right guy, again. And obviously Tiger, when he turned pro in 96 and started winning tournaments, won the Masters in 97, Golf Channel was there to document it. So it was the right timing.
Well, and now we have the PGA Tour, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, trying to figure out about starting their own channel for golf. I don't know.
Yes.
All right, so Arnold Palmer, though, he kickstarted the PGA Tour Championship, Champions Tour, known then as the Senior PGA Tour.
Right.
It was he that...
that started in 78 with a couple of tournaments, but when Arnold turned 50 and went out and started winning tournaments, all those people followed him from the PGA Tour. And it made the Senior Tour viable. Oh. And later again, Jack came along, and Lee had a tremendous career out on the Senior Tour. But without Arnold to kind of give it legs, I'm not sure it would have thrived.
Right, and still be where it is today. Now, he saved the British Open. That one there is a lot of people. They don't realize that, the British Open, because we think of it as just a huge, huge event that all the players want to play in. But there was a time when the players weren't that interested in going over there.
In the 1950s, Americans didn't go over there, really. And Arnold told me once that he always had it in his mind that he wanted to win all the national championships he could. The U.S. Open, the Canadian Open, these things. And so in 1960, he had won the Masters and he had won the U.S. Open, and he decided to go play the British Open at the old course at St. Andrews in 1960. And he finished second to Kel Nagle. But the fact that he was there, and he was Arnold Palmer at that time, at the height of his powers, really, excited people about the British Open. And then he won it in 1961, and he won it in 1962. And it was suddenly an elevated tournament.
Yeah, it was the cool thing to do. Let's go play the British Open.
Arnold's doing it. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how Arnold's doing it. Let's go. And this I did talk about last week. Of course, he invented the athlete celebrity endorsement with IMG when they took him under his wing. Mark McCormick, his friend back then, the startup company. He says, "I see something." Mark McCormick sees something in Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer was making about $50,000 a year playing golf, and after the first year with his endorsements, it jumped to $500,000. Yeah. So Arnold Palmer again invented all these celebrities that are making millions in endorsements.
If you want to have some fun, go onto YouTube and type in Arnold Palmer Japanese commercial. Because he was doing commercials in Japan and England and all over the world that we never saw here in this country. I mean, we saw the commercials here for Pennzoil and for Cadillac and for whatever else he was an endorser for, and most recently this blood clotting drug.
Right.
Even at 86 years old, he was out there doing this stuff with modern day athletes like Chris Bosh. But he and Mark McCormick really did kind of invent that. And athletes did shaving commercials and stuff like that before, but Palmer took it to the stratosphere.
Right, took it to a completely new level. And, of course, he invented the Arnold Palmer drink. So now I did not have a chance to watch the tribute. In fact, I knew if I did, I'd be crying, and I didn't. Did you watch it?
I did. I went over to Palmer's restaurant.
Oh, you did go to Palmer's,
yeah. And watched it with several people over there. They had about 3 dozen people who showed up to watch it, and it was an emotional 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Not just with the people there at the restaurant, but just watching what was going on. Jack Nicklaus was tough to watch. It was. I tweeted out that it was tough and beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
Because he was really broken up.
Right.
Jim Nance was very good.
Right.
Sam Saunders was fantastic, I thought, Arnold's grandson.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody hit the right notes. They tried to make it as much a celebration as they could, as sad as everybody was.
Yeah.
But it was a very good 2.5 hours over there.
Well, and I respect the family, too, for saying, keep the Ryder Cup the Ryder Cup. We'll do a tribute for Arnold after. Let's focus on what's there. Certainly there was all these. We had Charlie Peterson from Indian Ridge Country Club call us from the Ryder Cup. Of course, he said the badges were everywhere. I mean, he said the bag on the first tee had everybody in tears. He goes, that was so emotional. He said there was a fog. It was a haze. The sun comes, one of those moments where you're just going, there's special powers out there. But he said it really was incredible. And
Palmer's a different athlete. There you can only maybe mention 2 or 3 guys who are in the same strata as him. In terms of lifting his sport to a different level, maybe Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Back in the 1920s. In terms of being a cultural icon, on a different level, for different reasons, but Muhammad Ali would be in it. And then, Palmer's in that same group. That's pretty high-priced territory.
It is. And we'll see how all of this affects, if it does, if anything, the Career Builder Challenge.
Well, there will be tributes to Palmer there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he won that tournament 5 times from 1960 to 1973. 73 was his last win on the tour. 4 of those wins, by the way, were at Bermuda Dunes Country Club. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. But so there'll definitely be tributes there. I don't know that's going to be massive at that point. I think it may be something they want to do, but not necessarily distract from what's going on with the tournament.
I think they should have like Bob Hope gallery that they have, the exhibit. I think they should have an Arnold Palmer there. I really do. I think he should get his some spot of his own.
You will see mentions of Palmer probably throughout the golf course.
Yeah.
But in terms of a formal tribute or something like that, it might not be as big as what people might think. It'll be more subtle stuff.
Yeah, all right. And joining us, folks, is Larry Bohannan from the Desert Sun. Of course, he is our golf aficionado here in the Coachella Valley. Well, we have a few minutes before we go to break. Let's talk about television. Paying to watch golf on TV. What is the PGA Tour? I have my notes. Here we are, right here. I put a Bunker Shots question out there because the PGA Tour started their own television channel, being the only place you can watch tournaments. How much would you pay if that was the only place you could watch tournaments? How much would you pay a year? Keeping in mind that most of the other independent sports station, NFL, NBA, MLB, they charge $100 and up a year to watch their sport on their own channels. With the golf and the way it is, the industry right now, to come up and ask people now to pay for more golf, to pay more watch, because some people are even paying to watch the golf channel as it is. Rocky Stockdale said, I currently pay extra to have the golf channel, so he's already paying. I'm not sure what part of the country he's in. Angel Ramon Sandoval says, I could sure use that bag of cash. I guess that's what he's thinking about paying, that he's not going to pay to watch golf. Bill Sherrod said, I would for sure. He would pay. Linda Birdsell said, I think about $75 a year would be fair. And then the list goes on of others who say that they would and would not pay. What do you think about the PGA starting their own golf channel?
It's important to note that they haven't made that decision yet. They're just exploring the possibility of opting out of some of their contracts with CBS and NBC, not with Golf Channel. Golf Channel contract goes through 2021. But by the end of 2018, the PGA Tour could opt out. I'm not sure they're serious about their own channel, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I think what they're serious about is seeing if ESPN and Fox want to get more involved in golf and cover some PGA Tour events and bring in a little more television revenue. If you did that, you would guarantee smaller ratings because you wouldn't have casual fans showing up. But you would get a more specific, focused demographic. And that's what the PGA Tour would be selling to its sponsors. That these
golfers.
People really are golfers because they're coming to our channel specifically. You see that with NBC, our NBA television, and the NFL Network and things like that. So I think that that's still something that's not going to be decided. And obviously, Tim Fincham's getting ready to leave the PGA Tour.
That's right.
So the new commissioner, Jay
For,
Monahan,
22 years, something
is
like
going
that?
to be the guy who gets to play with all this stuff.
Well, we shall see. And talking about fans, and you mentioned dedicated golf fans, unlike some of the Ryder Cup fans, which, you know what, the excitement level there was so crazy. On that note, we're going to step aside. When we come back, Larry Bohannan is staying with us all the way till the end of the show. We are going to talk about the Ryder Cup and the excitement, the ups, the downs, the white pants. What were they thinking? Who designed those clothes? All right, folks, you're listening to Golf is a Four-Letter Word right here on Team 1010 KXPS. Welcome back to the show, everyone. You're listening to Golf is a Four-Letter Word right here on Team 1010 KXPS. XPS. It's right there in a big sign, but I'm used to the Money Radio one also. I get them all confused. Joining us here in the studio is Larry Bohannan from the Desert Sun. Great to have you in, Larry. Always fun to have you in to talk about stuff. The world of golf, what's going on out there. All right, let's jump into the Ryder Cup. It's not, so much emotions with this Ryder Cup, the passing of Arnold Palmer, the pressure Davis loves saying he has the best team ever, the pressure to win, Tiger Woods, the vice captain, all the vice captains. They didn't show a lot of Tiger, which I appreciated. The outfits, the crazy, crazy fans. I have to say, I thought the fans, even though they were crazy and they were, a lot of them were drunk by the end of the day and not.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, the etiquette for golf might have slid out the window a little bit. I felt it was okay for this event.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy at our office this week about, well, why don't you see this at other events? Mm-hmm. And the answer is because other events aren't the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
You don't have just 4 tee times out there as you have for the first 4 days, or for the first 2 days, rather. You don't have your opponent right there in the group with you a lot of times. In a 72-hole stroke play event, you may be tied with somebody 4 holes ahead of you or 4 holes behind you. And obviously the patriotism and the partisanship is much higher at this level. But I think Americans have this really interesting habit of not caring about things until we don't have them anymore. And that's what happened with the Ryder Cup is, through the 50s and 60s and into the 70s, we didn't much care about the Ryder Cup as fans. I think the players cared.
Yes.
But as fans, we didn't much care because we won every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And when Great Britain and Ireland became Europe, and when Europe started winning this thing, it became more a deal.
They won 3 in a row. Am I right on that one? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think 3 in a row. Okay.
And they'd won 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so
pretty sad on
I
our
think
part.
and there was all this stuff about the task force. Yeah. Does this work? And how much power does Phil really have behind the scenes? And we don't have Tiger, and who's going to the fact of the matter is, Europe put out a team that was not as strong as they have in the past. They had 6 rookies, some of them very good rookies. Thomas Peters, obviously, was very good. Danny Willett's the Masters champion, for goodness sakes. But some of their rookies did not play all that well. Matt Fitzgerald and Andy Sullivan. Some of the Americans played very well. And
some of our veterans, not so well. Yeah, there was a mixed bag there. We got the lead on the first day, but then things started to change quickly. That's the fun part about the Ryder Cup, that it can change so quickly.
Obviously Rory McIlroy played very well for them, and they also got Thomas Peters, again, the rookie, but a very good player, played very well for them. Justin Rose played pretty well until the last day in singles. And it really came down to singles, and for some reason, the Americans, after a slow start that morning, really ramped it up and ended up walking away with this thing pretty easily, 17 points to 11 points, which I don't think anybody saw. But
no, because Sunday is usually where the Americans falter. We can kind of hang on, keep it sort of even the first 2 days, and then on Sunday, boom, we just start dropping like flies. And you have to say the crowd, of course, well, and the European the Europeans knew it. I mean, it happens when we're over there that their crowds
Sure.
are behind them. They knew it was going to happen here. At some point, I was kind of feeling a little arrogance from Rory McIlroy, and was it justified? I know people were really, giving him stuff out there, but I don't know. After he took that win, the FedEx Cup, the money, his $11 million or whatever he won there from Dustin Johnson, which Dustin basically handed it to him as well.
True.
I mean, Rory played well, but Dustin played badly
on Sunday.
All of a sudden, did you notice his whole attitude changed?
I will say this, in my opinion, just my opinion. What do I know, right? But in my opinion, Rory McIlroy is the best player in the world.
You think so?
I think he's better than Dustin when the both of them are playing their best golf.
Jason Day?
I think he's better than Jason Day when they're both playing their best golf. I don't know what's going on with Jordan Spieth right now.
Yeah.
But I think when all things are equal and everybody's playing their best, I think Rory's just a little bit better. And, he hasn't played well this year because he hadn't putted well.
Yeah.
Now he's putting well again. Guess what? He goes out and wins a couple of tournaments real fast.
Some of those putts some of the putts from all the players across the green.
But I think there were two things that came out on Sunday. One was the Reed McIlroy match, where they really played off each other.
That was great.
And the emotions were great. And for 9 holes, it was unbelievable. The back 9 wasn't as sensational.
Yeah.
And Reed won the match. And then there was the Sergio Garcia-Phil Mickelson match, where they combined for 19 birdies and ended up tied. And both of them were disappointed.
I know, because they both wanted to win, and they both knew how well they played. And, that was. But you heard Johnny Miller say at the end, when they were, I think, on the 18th hole, or he could have said on the 17th hole, I really feel this should be a tie. They should each get half a point because this has been such an incredible match that they both deserve something.
Yeah.
And
I think that, the crowd can get a little out of hand. There are those of us in golf who look at some of the things that are said and how people, and we cringe because we know that's not really part of what golf and being a golf fan is about. But, I think with this event, it's just gotten to the point where that's almost expected.
Yeah, it's massive crowds.
And if you think it's bad this year, stick around a couple of years, because I think in 2024, it goes to Bethpage Black outside of New York.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, man, that crowd will not.
Well, like I said,
me.
Charlie Peterson from Indian Ridge Country Club was there and actually found a quiet spot to call us. And he said, and again, you've been to majors, you've been to the Masters.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the Masters, but you've been to the Masters. And I said this on the air to Charlie, and I'm saying it to you. People, you don't know what that vibe is like until you are really right in the middle of it. It's incredible at these tournaments. And there were 10, 12, 20 people deep at the Ryder Cup, but the electricity going through that crowd, really for both sides, was something.
The loudest I've ever heard a crowd was at the 08 U.S. Open down at Torrey Pines.
I was there.
And Tiger Woods made a putt, I think, on the second day. It must have been 60, 65 feet for an eagle down a hill, double breaking this and the other. And the ball got closer and closer and closer. And suddenly it goes in, and the place just exploded. Yeah. But the Ryder Cup, you amp that up even more. You can't hear yourself think.
Well, and I thought there's really probably one comment. I know a lot of the comments, I think it was really cool of the players to call out that one guy on the practice rounds and make that putt. I think that I don't know, that was endearing, and I don't mean it in that sense. But, when it was just brought the crowd more into it to make these guys are human. We're out here playing. Yeah. Hey, buddy, you think you can do it? Come and show us. I thought that was great.
I think the other thing is in that McIlroy-Reed match on Sunday, you could see the two of them were really having fun with each other.
They were. I liked when I saw that.
This was not I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
The partisanship in the Ryder Cup, exists with the players, but it's far more prevalent with the fans.
Yeah.
The players are players. Yeah. They play with each other all the time on the PGA Tour. there's no hatred or dislike there, unless you're Tiger and Phil, apparently.
Well, yeah, but yeah, because you could see. I mean, I like the fact when I saw that Rory, the fist pump to each other and the the finger wave, but they were laughing. They were patting each other on the back, laughing, saying, "Come on, both of them were actually saying, I think to each other, what's it going to take for me to win this? Because I want to win this.
Fun, yeah,
let's have some fun." So I thought it was good. There was one comment that I wish, and the media has a lot to do with this. Again, the media does put things in people's head, and of course, when the one guy kept yelling at Dustin. Something about Paulina, I think that's really uncalled. You didn't hear anybody else yelling about someone else's wife or girlfriend out there.
When somebody yells at Sergio, "You don't have a major," well, that's okay because Sergio doesn't have a major.
Yeah,
and it's part of his professional life.
Right.
If you start to get past that, if you start going into personal lives, then I think there are lines that get crossed that shouldn't get crossed.
No, I think the crowd should turn around and point that person out and say, "Security, get him out of here."
And they did kick some people out, but I think rather than kicking people out, maybe they need to cut off beer sales a little earlier.
At 6:00 in the morning. 6:30.
You see it at football games, and some guy yells something from section 314.
Yeah.
Well, the players don't hear it.
Yeah.
But on a golf course, where you're potentially within 10, 12 feet of a player, if a player is in the rough or something like that.
Right. And it's quiet. Everybody quiets down.
That gets a little tougher.
To make a shot. So overall, though, I give this past Ryder Cup an A+. I thought it was good.
I thought it was very good. I think it'll be interesting now to see how the United States moves forward to Paris.
Who's the next captain? I'm sorry.
And we don't have an ex-captain yet.
They didn't announce. Okay.
They haven't announced it.
All right.
There's a good chance it will be Jim Furyk or Steve Stricker.
Yeah, I don't think Tiger Woods yet.
Steve Stricker, in 4 years, the Ryder Cup is at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin. Steve Stricker is from Wisconsin. That might make more sense. So maybe Jim Furyk gets it in Paris. And we don't know about Europe yet, but we think it's probably going to be Thomas Bjorn.
Okay. Oh, all right. Interesting. Okay. On that note, we're going to have to step aside. When we come back, we're going to talk about the developers who want to ditch the golf course for olive groves. We're going to talk about Golfsmith. Yeah, there's some news about Golfsmith, folks. And then, $15 million? The course is zapping Indian Wells. I don't even know if we're going to have time to cover all this, but we're going to try. You're listening to Golf is a Four-Letter Word right here on Team 1010 KXPS. All right, welcome back to Golf is a Four-Letter Word right here on Team 1010 KXPS. Joining us in studio is Larry Bohannan from the Desert Sun, who just told me he doesn't try to get too formal when he comes on the show.
Or when I go to work or anywhere else.
When you do anything. Okay, you're just kind of not a formal guy. We won't be seeing you in the tuxedo anytime soon.
No, this is a
That's it?
Yeah,
okay.
a golf shirt and a pair of shorts. I'm good.
Okay. Well, big news yesterday. I saw it online, saw it in the paper. I'm going to let you break it to those out there who haven't heard yet.
Yeah, I was sitting at my desk yesterday afternoon and I got a phone call from the general manager over at Golfsmith. Obviously, there was a story a month ago that Golfsmith had filed for bankruptcy, and they were going to close 20 stores across the country, and one of them was the Palm Desert store over at Monterey and Dinah Shore.
Yep.
And he said, they've done some negotiations with our landlord, and we've got a little better rate, and because of that, we're a little more profitable, and so Golfsmith has decided to keep our store open. And so instead of closing on October 31st, which was the plan, they are going to stay open. Now, they don't have a whole lot of inventory right now.
I was going to say, they've had signs up. Everybody's going in there, cleaning them out and getting all the sales and stuff. So how long do they figure it's going to be before they can stock back up?
He said, Rich Dana, the general manager, said that they expect to be fully stocked by the time the season really gets going. Middle of next month probably. But, they were selling stuff at 10 to 30% off, and then they went to 40% off, and then just last week they went to 50% off. And they weren't handling it. It was a third party that handles the liquidation. Yeah. There's this plot. They probably would have gone to 70% at some point and said, by the way, do you want that light fixture too?
Well, and they have, the light fixture. So now they have to we'll have to put more money back into the store. But they have 18 employees that will continue to have their jobs, which is a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah. And I think the idea that, most of the golf shops in the Coachella Valley tend to be around Highway 111. The Golfsmith shop is out near I-10.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an odd spot around
Yeah.
the corner there from Costco.
Right next to Costco
Yeah.
there. And so I think that's, maybe that's a different option for people who are on the north side of I-10 or maybe not real close to Highway 111. But, when they closed, I wrote a column saying, is this kind of an individual thing, or is it a sign that golf is in trouble?
Well, Lumpy's.
Both of their stores went out
Yeah.
in La Quinta and Rancho Mirage, and we've seen one Roger Dunn store go out.
Wow.
We still have the Roger Dunn in Indio.
Yeah.
PGA Tour Superstore, obviously Pete Carlson's been around for 30 years or so.
But Pete was, and I want to give Pete a lot of credit because he knew golf was very popular, but he also knew that tennis was, he looked ahead and to combine so much tennis and golf. He isn't depending on one or the other. It's both. He's
also branching out into jazz concerts. And
he loves his jazz music.
But, so the idea that this company feels that this store is profitable enough to stay open with just a little tweaking in the rent or the lease is, I think, a good sign.
That is a good sign because it is a large store. It is a very large store.
37,000 square foot store.
Yeah. I walk in there, and much like the PGA, those are large, large stores. That's kind of one of the fun parts about Pete Carlson is everything's so jammed in there. Where you turn around, there's something to look at. You know what I mean? It's so,
yes.
I don't know. It's just kind of a little bit different vibe. But we're so happy that Golfsmith is staying. We really are. So, folks, now if they're low on inventory, but you never know. You still might find a deal or two.
You could still get a deal. Up until yesterday, it was all programmed into their computers. Now I think they're back to 100%. But, you can still find some stuff.
All right. No, you can't buy the light fixtures now. They're keeping those. All right. Here's something else in the news. I don't know which one I want to talk about because we only have a few moments left. Let's talk about the developer who wants to ditch the golf course for olive groves. That is, let me see, in Palm Springs. It's a community that they're building. If I developers in a project, it's in the works, and they had planned a golf course, but now they're saying, well, when you read about Indian Wells sapped almost $15 million, their golf course is bleeding them dry because it's not getting enough play. You kind of have to wonder, is this a trend for some of these upcoming gated communities instead of golf courses to have parks and lakes and that kind of stuff?
It's been a while since anybody built a golf course in the Coachella Valley.
Yeah.
An actual 18-hole regulation golf course. I think the last one that was built was Eagle Falls out at Fantasy Springs Golf Resort. The North Course over at Shadow Hills Golf Club, 18-hole par 3 golf course, has been built since then. But, you're just not going to see golf courses built right now. Really, from the very first golf course, 18-hole golf course that was built here in 1951 at Thunderbird, golf courses have always been about housing in this valley or hotels. And because you could attract people to your housing development because you've got a golf course there. We've got a lot of golf courses in this valley right now. My number is 122. Some people count them a little different.
Yeah, I know. I think I've read 120.
It depends what's a 27-hole course kind of thing.
Yeah.
But and a couple of private courses that don't necessarily count. But we got a lot of golf in this valley, and we've had a couple of courses close. So I don't think that you're going to see any golf courses built here probably for another decade going forward. So if you can change that and you can put in a lake, or you can put in a bike path or a walking path, or maybe you can put in some kind of fitness area, a fitness facilities, that probably is a better idea for a developer right now than a golf course. Golf courses take money to maintain. And if you don't see that money coming in, an olive grove might be a better choice.
It might be a better choice. All right, Billy, how much time do we have left here? We're out of time. That's it. I knew that. Larry Bohannan, thank you so much for joining us. Always appreciate it. Fun having you on the show.
My pleasure.
Okay, folks, you have a great week. Next week we'll be back, and we're going to talk to the guys from A1 Custom Golf Carts. I'm using their golf cart in the golf cart parade coming up. Have a great one, everyone. And remember, golf is a 4-letter word in more ways than one. See you next time. Bye.